Hello everyone and welcome to Heart Rich where you come to get amazed. We all know that we always learn and grow from our mistakes. But here are we with a list of 5 most expensive mistakes ever made by any company. Number 1 is reinventing Coca-Cola. In celebration of their centennial anniversary in 1985, they had a new contender for the soda crown that went by the name of Pepsi and had an even higher sugar content than Coke and was edging on the sales figures. So what did the people at Coca-Cola Corporation do about it? They basically tinkered with their tried and tested recipe to make it taste more like Pepsi but even sweeter. Coca-Cola changed its fabled secret formula and introduced the new taste as the new Coke. However, the American public's reaction to the change was negative and new Coke was considered a major failure. It turns out customers did not want a new Coke, they wanted the old Coke, their taste they would come to know and love. Sales dropped by 20%, Coca-Cola's offices were bombarded with angry phone calls, and later protesters even branded the new beverage totally un-American and even poured out gallons of the new beverage down the drain in public. The company reintroduced Coke's original formula within 3 months, rebranded Coca-Cola Classic, resulting in a significant sales boost. Number 2 is Kodak Forget to develop their digital camera. Kodak patented one of the first digital cameras and then totally forget to develop it. Failing to predict trends is one thing, it's another to see what direction the world is moving in but not to act on it, which is exactly what Kodak did. They were once market leaders in photography, that is for as long as it relied on the films, but things could have been different. All the way back in 1977, they filed one of the first patents for a digital camera, but their tried and tested moneymaker was making them such a big bucks they didn't even bother to develop it. They just sat on the patent, and of course, when digital cameras took over a couple of decades later, film became obsolete and so did Kodak. Number 3 is Blockbuster turned down Netflix. I remember the days when most people's weekend plans involved a trip to Blockbuster Video. Well, maybe just a few of you. Blockbuster, by contrast, was at the height of its power with thousands of stores across the country and tens of thousands of employees, but if they played their cards differently, they could have still been a huge name in entertainment because back in 2000, they were approached by Netflix, at the time an online DVD rental company. They pitched an offer to handle Blockbuster's online offers. The company could have bought Netflix that day for $50 million, but its CEO didn't even bother to consider the possibility. He seemed to see it as a great big joke. Slow to react the fast changing times, Blockbuster failed to launch their own DVD by mail service until 2005. Netflix were already light years ahead of them, and by then they were already looking into the future, specifically the video streaming market. If it wasn't for Blockbuster's gaffe, we might never have seen series like Stranger Things or House of Cards, and today the last remaining Blockbuster store in the world, a privately owned franchise, is located in Bend, Oregon. Number 4 is Xerox Share their ideas with Apple. Back in the early 1970s, the few computers that existed weren't anything like as exciting or appealing as the ones we have nowadays. Most didn't have any graphics, let alone images you could interact with. Forget about windows that opened and closed icons or drop-down menus. If you wanted to make a command, that meant typing and complicated text into the keyboard, but one company came along and changed all of that. They had a bright idea called the GUI. It's a company name we all know very well. Guess what? It's Xerox. Did you think I was gonna say Apple? Well, of course, Apple were the ones that ran with the idea and used it to revolutionize computing. That's thanks to the time Xerox allowed several Apple employees, including Steve Jobs, to visit their facility. The Apple staff were allowed to look at their prototypes in exchange for Apple stock. Xerox did well from the Apple stock they got in return, but Steve Jobs himself later said that Xerox, if had known what they were sitting on, they could have become the world's biggest tech company. Instead, Apple took that place, and Xerox is known for making, well, Xerox machines. Number 5 is 20th Century Fox miss out on Star Wars merchandising. It was 1977, Star Wars hadn't even released when 20th Century Fox did the dumbest thing ever. They handed all merchandising rights to George Lucas. In return, they got was measly $20,000, but George became the head of a $3 billion plus company with reach all over the globe, its profits continuing to grow with each passing day. Fox had absolutely no idea what Star Wars would become. Star Wars has generated $32 billion in merchandising sales, that's increasing by over $1 billion a year. It's turned George Lucas into one of the wealthiest people in the entertainment industry, and for this blunder, they missed out on claiming one of the biggest media franchise. So here as you are in the end of this video, thank you so much for staying with us, and here is your bonus point. Gary Vaynerchuk, founder and CEO of VaynerX, 5-time New York Times best-selling author, did not invested in Uber. As he said in one of his videos that he had the chance to invest on Uber, but he passed it twice. If he had invested $25,000 in Uber, like he did with many other companies, the value would have reached $300 million a few years ago. Please let us know in the comment section that which mistake was the dumbest of all. We will see you in the next video. Bye bye.